Hello and welcome back to Lizard and Hook. I'm Lizzie, the crochet designer here, and today we're going to be making these super simple flower motifs that you can add onto your clothing as patchwork, make into earrings, or make into bag charms, which I will show you how to do at the end of this tutorial. So if you would like to learn how to make these flowers, please keep watching. For this tutorial, you will need to know how to chain, slip stitch, single crochet, double crochet, and fasten off. Super easy, super simple, and beginner friendly. So let's get into it.
For this project you will need 2 DK yarns, a 3.5mm hook, and a pair of scissors to cut off your ends. Start by creating a slip knot and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have your 6 chains, slip stitch back into your first chain so that you have a small chain 6 circle. Chain 1, which is not equivalent of any stitch, it's just so that we can get up to the height that we need, and place 12 single crochets through that chain 6 circle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Once you have your 12 single crochets through that central circle, place a slip stitch through the top of that first single crochet, not the chain 1, but the first single crochet, and you should end up with a little circle like this with a hole in the middle. And for row 2, chain 3, equivalent of 1 double crochet plus 1 chain space, yarn over and place a double crochet through the next stitch, chain 1, place a double crochet through that next stitch, and continue this, chain 1, double crochet into the next stitch until you have completed 12 double crochets. And 12, chain 1, and place a slip stitch through the second chain of your starting chain 3 to close the round. If you are changing colors here, cut your yarn and pull through to fasten off. If you are keeping the same color, slip stitch into that next chain space gap. To attach your next color for row 3, create a slip knot, find a chain space, and attach your yarn through that chain space. Chain 2, equivalent of 1 double crochet, and place 2 more double crochets through that chain space. Into the next chain space, place 1 single crochet. Into the next chain space, place 3 double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and place 3 more double crochet through that same chain space. And we have created our first petal here, as you can see. We're going to continue this, placing 1 single crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, 1 single crochet, all the way around until we get to our last chain space. Into that last chain space, place 1 single crochet. And into that chain space where our first 3 double crochets are, place 3 more double crochet. Find the top of that chain 2 that's acting as our starting double crochet, yarn over and place a double crochet through the top of that chain 2. And from here, cut your yarn and yarn over, pull through to fasten off. And here you have your flower motif. These 2 flower motifs are going to be a part of my bag charms, and I want the flower motifs to dangle at about 5 inches long. So I'm doubling that measurement as we're going to fold over and double strand that yarn. And then I'm going to add another 5 inches because as you braid down, your strands get slightly shorter and I want a little bit of a tassel at the end. So even though I want my strands to be 15 inches, I'm going to double that to 30 inches as I want to use a lark's head knot to attach my bag charms to my actual bag. So I'm going to cut 6 strands at 30 inches and I'll show you how I attach them onto my motifs. So now I've cut 6 strands of my yarn at 30 inches each. I'm going to take all 6 yarns, go through the top chain 3 space of one of my flower motifs and pull them all through. Make sure that the strands are lined up together at one end. It doesn't matter if they're not exactly at the same length, but just as much as you can. And here at the base of my strands, here where it attaches to the chain space, create a knot. Pull that through and just make sure as you're tightening that it is staying close to the base of those strands. And here we have our strands attached to our motif. Now place something heavy on top of your motif here so that you can easily separate your yarns. Because we started with 6 strands and then doubled them over when we tied that knot, we now have 12 strands to work with, and our braid works up in 3s. So separate your yarn into 3 bundles of 4 strands. And braid your way down the strands until you're left with about 3 inches left. So now I have about 3 inches left on my braid, and I'm going to tie a knot and make sure as I pull it through that it's coming to the end of that braid, tightening it up and cut off any excess yarn. So I would like a little bit of a tassel here, so I'm going to cut it at about 2 inches. And now you have one of your bag straps. And for my second strap, I cut my 6 yarn strands at 50 inches just so that you can see the length comparison, because it is a little bit deceiving how much yarn you need for this braid. And I'm doing exactly the same process as I did for the other motif. And now we have 2 completed bag charms here, one at 50 inches from our base strands and one with 30 inches from our base strands. And I will show you how to attach them to your bag. This is my everyday bag, and to attach our bag charm onto the bag, I'm going to bring these 2 knots together and create this loop. Place the loop behind the bag strap and then pull the motif and the tassel through that loop
and pull it tight here at the base in a lark's head knot. And I'll do it with the other one so that you can see the length difference. To use the flowers as patchwork, I used my mannequin form to hold my top and then pinned my flowers where I would like them to sit. You don't actually need a mannequin form, but I just had one to hand, so I thought I would use it. I took the top off of the form and I used the same yarn as I did for the petals, and then with a darning needle to attach my flowers to the top. I used a running stitch through the top of each stitch on my last row, and I tucked the loose ends in behind the flowers so that it was super neat. And it's all done. You have your patchwork flowers onto your clothing. And for the earrings, I attached a jump ring through the chain 3 space at the top of one of my petals, chained 3 more jump loops onto it, and then an earring hook at the top, making sure the loops lined up so the earring faces forward when you're wearing them. And that is all for today. That is your flower motif tutorial with instructions on how to make a bag charm, patchwork for your clothing, or earrings for you to wear.